The Daleks made their triumphant return to our screens in 2005 after a 17-year hiatus, and they certainly came back with a bang. The two Dalek stories of Series 1 of the revived series of Doctor Who are often said to be among the best Dalek stories ever written, and for good reason. Rob Shearman's Dalek reintroduces the Doctor's greatest enemy sporting a new design and new abilities, updating the Pepperpot Tyrants for a new generation and restoring their fear factor, which had waned in the 90s during their extended period off-screen. Adapting his Big Finish audio Jubilee, a Sixth Doctor story centred around a captive Dalek that believes itself to be the last of its kind, Rob Shearman focuses on illustrating the power of the Daleks, but he also wanted to show audiences that there is more to the Daleks inside the metal shell, and just like in Jubilee, he presents the Dalek as a multifaceted character, more than just any other monster of the week. In this video, we are going to take a closer look at some of the key scenes from Dalek, and analyse just how Shearman goes about resurrecting the Daleks for a new generation. When the Doctor first meets the Dalek, he is unaware of what he is facing. He actually wants to help, as the Dalek is a captive of a particularly ruthless human businessman, Henry Van Statten, who tortures the creature in an attempt to get it to talk to him, and who clearly has very little respect for life, seeing alien technology as simply a resource to exploit. But when the Dalek realises who the Doctor is, it becomes suddenly animated as the lights flicker on and it screams the iconic battle cry as the Doctor cowers at the door, pleading to be let out. Seeing the brave hero we have come to trust and adore reduced to this at the mere sight of a Dalek emphasises how dangerous these creatures are, but we soon discover that there is more to this encounter than meets the eye. The Doctor, upon realising that the Dalek weapon is damaged and cannot harm him, bellows a deranged laugh and begins to taunt the creature, seemingly deriving a twisted sense of enjoyment from its predicament. This is shocking to both classic fans and new viewers alike. The Doctor, who we implicitly trust as a good person, a hero, begins to circle the Dalek and mock its helplessness, revealing in a shocking twist that the Daleks fought a devastating war with the Doctor's people, the Time Lords, and that in order to prevent the destruction of the universe, the Doctor had to make a terrible choice and wipe out both civilizations, Time Lords and Daleks alike. From this moment, a new status quo for the Daleks and the Doctor is established. The Daleks bring out the worst in our hero. They aren't just terrifying in themselves, the Doctor's hatred of them makes him into something terrifying too.
I know what should happen. I know what you deserve. Exterminate.
The antithesis to this is Rose, the Doctor's companion. Unlike the Doctor, who sees even a weakened and captive Dalek as an enemy that must be destroyed, Rose pities the creature. When she realises that Van Statten is torturing the Dalek, she attempts to comfort it, and is tricked into placing her hand on the Dalek casing, allowing it to harvest her DNA and the time-sensitive radiation from her travels in the TARDIS to rejuvenate itself and escape.
Connected material extrapolated. Initiate cellular reconstruction.
The way the Dalek tricks Rose is another fantastic illustration of what makes Daleks so dangerous. They aren't just mindless war machines, they are capable of guile and trickery, and although they lack pity, they can manipulate the pity of their enemies to get what they want. This deception does eventually lead to the Daleks' undoing, but in the moment it's a fantastic illustration of how Daleks can analyse a situation and adapt their tactics to find the best possible outcome.
I am glad that before I die, I met a human who was not afraid.
Isn't there anything I can do?
My race is dead. I shall die alone.
Notice that the Dalek only begins to speak to Rose when it learns that she knows the Doctor. It initially ignores her, just as it had done with every other human in the base, but the moment she unintentionally reveals to it that she is the Doctor's companion, and therefore a time traveller with the resources it needs to regenerate itself, it immediately opens dialogue with her to get her to pity it. And the fact that even a standard Dalek soldier knows how to pull at human heartstrings, like pulling the strings on a puppet, is just another way that this episode adds another layer of depth to the Daleks. Once Rose does place her hand on the Dalek, its demeanour suddenly shifts. The fantastic voice work of Nick Briggs is put front and centre in this story, as he gets to voice a full range of Dalek emotions: desperation, melancholy, and now full-on rage. Briggs had done the Dalek voice work for Big Finish in the past, but Dalek was his first shot at voicing Daleks on TV. and it's no wonder that he is still the go-to Dalek voice actor for Doctor Who to this day. Briggs's Dalek voice takes inspiration from the great Dalek voice artists of the past, Peter Hawkins, David Graham and Roy Skelton among others, to deliver what is, to many, the definitive Dalek vocal sound. Though, as this episode shows, sometimes Daleks are just as terrifying when they are silent. Once the Dalek breaks free, its torturer Simmons enters the room and begins mocking the Dalek for its lack of weaponry, uttering the infamous line, "What are you gonna do? Sucker me to death?" And without even giving a reply, the Dalek does just that, latching its sucker onto Simmons' face and crushing his skull. This is an important scene for Dalek fans, as Daleks have long been ridiculed for their unusual choice of appendage, but this episode brutally illustrates why the plunger-shaped design is actually an ideal shape for the Dalek manipulator. It can alter its shape to clamp around things, either to kill, or as the scene later shows, to interact with non-Dalek technology, like keypads. After shrugging off the attacks of the human guards, the Dalek proceeds to absorb the entire internet, learning everything about human history, while simultaneously draining the power supply for the west coast of the United States to repair its battle armour and restore power to its weapon. The Dalek, having regained its capacity to kill, also regains its sense of self, declaring that the Dalek survived through it and blasting the room outside its cell. This cathartic moment only emphasises the raw power of a Dalek ray gun, but it also seems to hint at something deeper. Is this the Dalek having fun? After years of captivity, is this the Dalek expressing a twisted sense of joy at gaining its freedom?
The Daleks survive in me!
Once freed from its cage, the Dalek proceeds to do what it does best: exterminate. Using its rotating midsection, the Dalek effortlessly guns down 2 squads of soldiers in a corridor, taking its time and picking them off one by one, again almost as if it's enjoying itself. The soldiers' weapons have no effect on the Dalek's shield, and it isn't long before they are all exterminated. Only Rose, Adam and a single soldier survive, and when they make it to a stairwell they think they are safe, with Adam even cracking a joke at the Dalek's expense.
Great big alien death machine, defeated by a flight of stairs.
Only for it to utter a single blood-chilling phrase, "Elevate," and glide up the stairs to catch up with them. This scene is another phenomenal Dalek moment, as it almost seems to wait for the prime moment to subvert the sense of security and superiority the humans feel at this point, rendering their newfound advantage utterly redundant. And the fact that it keeps its eye stalk trained on them the whole time, almost as if it is goading them and judging their terrified reactions, says a lot about the Dalek's sadistic personality. Speaking of sadism, the next big Dalek moment in this story is the scene in the warehouse, in which the humans have assembled a ragtag band of defenders, cobbled together from the remaining security personnel and anyone else in the base who is capable of holding a weapon. Despite their previous losses, the leader of the team still maintains some bravado, rejecting the Doctor's tactical advice and assuring him that he is quite capable of fighting one tin robot. And from that moment, you know for a fact that this man is going to die. The Dalek glides in and absorbs the incoming fire from the humans without a scratch, and it even restores power to the view screen in Van Statten's office, allowing the Doctor to witness the slaughter that is about to commence. Analysing the situation, and taking its time despite being under heavy fire, the Dalek floats upwards, almost appearing serene and elegant among the chaos, and fires a shot, not at any of the humans, but at the fire alarm, activating the base's sprinkler system and soaking the floor and the soldiers stood on it in water. Another shot is fired, and all of the men on the floor scream, twist, and die. If there was ever a moment in Doctor Who that perfectly encapsulates the methodological menace of the Daleks as they calculate the most efficient way of dealing out maximum extermination, this is it. Pivoting immediately from this brutal demonstration of Dalek carnage, the following exchange between the Dalek and the Doctor over the view screen is iconic for a reason. The Dalek shows some vulnerability to the Doctor, admitting that it has found no trace of the Daleks and asking the Doctor what it should do now. The Doctor, consumed with hate and rage, tells the Dalek that there is only one thing left it can do.
Kill yourself.
The Daleks must survive!
The Daleks have failed! Why don't you finish the job and make the Daleks extinct? Rid the universe of your filth! Why don't you just die?
Here we see the Doctor at his worst. He lets his anger and hatred get the better of him, and in a brutally brilliant twist-of-the-knife moment, the Dalek hits back with a devastating retort.
You would make a good Dalek.
This fantastic moment shows a mirror to the Doctor's darker side, something that we had seen glimpses of in Classic Who but had never been so clearly showcased on screen before, catapulting the character of the Doctor into a new era. Since the Time War, the gulf between the Doctor and the Daleks has narrowed, and here we see that when the Doctor gives in to anger and hate, he becomes something not too dissimilar from the Daleks. A terrifying concept, one that New Who continued to utilise several times across the tenures of at least 3 subsequent Doctors. In many ways, the character arc of the post-Time War Doctor begins with this story, and this scene is where it comes to a head. This is still the same Doctor we know and love, and he proves that when he refuses to let Rose die, opening the vault at the Daleks' request because he simply has no other option. But this momentary relief is soured by what he does next. Meanwhile, Rose attempts to talk to the Dalek, something that fans of the series know to be futile. But this time, something is different. Something has changed. The Dalek itself has changed, as a result of absorbing Rose's DNA. It feels her fear, and it is slowly losing its ability to kill. When it finally gets to confront Van Statten, the man who imprisoned it and tortured it, it cannot kill him. Instead, when asked by Rose what it wants, it simply replies,
I want freedom.
We are then treated to a fantastic subversion of the norm of Doctor Who. The Dalek, yearning for sunlight, opens its casing, it disarms its weapons and defences, while the Doctor is simultaneously shown to be arming himself, intent on killing the Dalek once and for all. The line between hero and villain is blurred, to the extent that when the Doctor finally does reach Rose and the Dalek, she stands in defence of the creature, denying the Doctor's orders to stand aside. The creature inside the Dalek casing is horrific, but also pathetic, and the Doctor too is shown to be turning into something horrific, a merciless killer, while also appearing pathetic, hunched over this massive, unwieldy weapon that seems so out of place in his hands. Rose recognises this and pleads with the Doctor to just look at the Dalek, see it, recognise what is happening to it.
Look at it.
What's it doing?
It's the sunlight, that's all it wants.
But it can't.
It couldn't kill Van Statten, it couldn't kill me, it's changing. What about you, Doctor? What the hell are you changing into?
And what a sight the Dalek is. We had seen Dalek mutants in the show before, but never like this. Finally, the metal shell is stripped away and we see the creature itself, its withered face, its exposed brain, its bloodshot eye, its twitching tentacles grasping for the sunlight. Truly a terrible sight, but also a pitiable sight. Such is the dichotomy of the Daleks.
I can feel so many ideas, so much darkness.
The final confrontation with the Dalek is devastating for so many reasons. The Doctor is forced to confront the fact that he has been twisted by hatred, and the Dalek is forced to confront the fact that it is slowly changing into something it really doesn't want to be. Its line, "This is not life, this is sickness," is a brutally honest summation of how the Daleks view human emotions. The Doctor even shows a grim level of understanding of what the Dalek is going through, explaining to Rose that it gaining positive emotions is not better, not for a Dalek. He even tells it, "I'm sorry." In the end, the Doctor gets what he wanted from the start. The Dalek destroys itself. But the circumstances couldn't be worse. 2 survivors of a bitter war who fought on opposite sides but are brought together in the end by their mutual anguish. 2 enemies who finally understand each other.
Why do we survive?
I don't know.
But only one can survive. The Dalek tells Rose to order it to die, and she complies. She gave it new life, and now she enables it to embrace death. With a final, pitiful exterminate, the Dalek self-destructs, leaving the Doctor stunned.
Midnight.
The death of the Dalek is not a victory. The threat is neutralised, the monster is defeated, the day is saved. But unlike previous monsters we have seen the Doctor defeat in the earlier episodes of Series 1, the ending of Dalek leaves its mark, not just on the Doctor but on the audience. This story challenges our preconceptions of the Daleks. Under the skin of this hateful, aggressive, intolerant enemy is a withered, pathetic creature that ultimately doesn't even know what it wants. The act of restoring itself to life unintentionally dooms the creature, simply because it cannot accept change. It cannot allow itself to become anything greater than the sick, twisted creature it was created to be. In the end, all that power, all those manipulations, weapons, murders, they all mean nothing. The Dalek is alone and scared, and despite the terror of what it represents, we cannot help but pity this thing.
This is not life. This is sickness. I shall not be like you. Order my destruction. Obey! Obey! Obey!
Do it.
Are you frightened, Rose Tyler?
Yeah.
So am I.
What makes Dalek a truly great Dalek story is that it presents us with a view of the Daleks that is more mature and multifaceted than any TV Doctor Who story has before, or perhaps since. Other stories have come close, but none can match the incredible achievement that is Dalek. Shearman's triumph in this story is twofold. The Daleks are back, more powerful than ever, with new abilities that demonstrate once and for all why they are the supreme beings. And yet the Daleks are also more than just their power. They are creatures we can fear, but also pity. That is what makes the Daleks interesting. That is what makes the Daleks such captivating villains. That is what makes the Daleks an important aspect of Doctor Who itself. What do you think? Which scene from Dalek is your favourite? Are there any other Dalek stories that you can think of which illustrate the duality of the Daleks? Let me know in the comments below.
Don't forget to click below to subscribe to
Dalek bumps.